88.5 Soufriere from 10 minutes moving up to the hour of 11 a.m. in Surface and Lotion, of course, the Eastern Caribbean. A busy Thursday it is, yes, indeed. The second part of our house guest for today, and it's immense pleasure yet again to actually host this dynamic speaker who is no other than Pamela Robinson, a global speaker, corporate trainer, and leadership facilitator known as the Confidence Architect. She helps leaders communicate with clarity, lead with confidence, and build high functioning, future ready teams. With more than 15 years of leadership experience across the Caribbean, Asia, and North America, Pamela has managed five-star hospitality operations as a general manager, served as a director of sales, and led multicultural teams through growth, change, and service excellence. She is the founder of Fusion Force, where she blends strategy, psychology, communication, and global leadership experience to strengthen leadership capability, elevate service culture, and drive measurable performance results. Pamela has been professionally trained by world renowned motivational speaker Les Brown and has delivered keynotes, executive retreats, and leadership workshops for diverse audiences worldwide. Pamela holds advanced credentials in leadership, business management, marketing, communication, counseling, and psychology. She is a member of the International Coaching Federation, the Greater Lehigh Valley Chamber of Commerce, and the Capital Speakers Club of Washington, D.C. She also volunteers with the Perfect Fit in Pennsylvania, supporting women as they prepare to re enter the workforce with confidence and dignity. Yes, you heard it right here at Super FM. Pamela Robinson. And of course, today's discussion is going to be so powerful that we're going to leave you inspired, motivated, and have a whole change of mind, and you're going to be reset fully. But why me, to speak? Let's hear it for her. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. And of course, it's a pleasure to have you join us back here at Soufriere FM. Good morning once again.
Good morning, Cabrina. It is always a pleasure to be here. Thanks again for having me.
You most welcome. And definitely, I think, like I said earlier on, persons are going to be so enlightened. They're going to be so refreshed by what is to come this morning. The last time you were here, we had a powerful conversation, of course. What feedback or impact, did you receive from that appearance? I know it was quite overwhelming because you did reach out to me.
Thank you, Cabrina. After our last conversation, I have to say the response was immediate. My phone was buzzing. I was receiving messages on Facebook, on Instagram. And can you believe people all the way from the United States and the United Kingdom were listening? And people really shared how the conversation helped them, especially now that they see leadership differently. Many said it gave them permission to lead from where they are, not from a different place. And that told me the message really landed and reminded me how hungry people are and thirsty for knowledge, and people are ready to improve and be better at what they are doing. And honestly, helping people improve is really my goal. So thank you.
You're most welcome. And again, building from the first interview, previously we touched on confidence. And today, obviously, we're here with a powerful conversation. And I will allow you to introduce the discussion for today.
Well, today we are talking about confidence, how we can be more confident living our lives in everything that we do. And Cabrina, what I really want to place emphasis on is to let people know that confidence is not a personality trait. People believe that confidence is something we are either born with or not. But today, I want to share with everyone that confidence is really not something we are born with. It is a skill that can be learned. According to Harvard Business Review, they published a recent research showing that confidence is shaped by experience, encouragement, and practice rather than genetics. So it really emphasizes that we are not born with confidence. We learn it. And you know how we learn it? We learn it through practice. We learn it through experience. We learn it through trial and error. When I look back at my childhood, I can see how early experiences really shaped the woman I am today. I remember my mom, and I always bring up my mom because I've always shared she's my greatest inspiration. But my mother would always say to us, be leaders and not followers. And I remember volunteering in class. I would read aloud. I would lead youth groups, even in my community, Force Jacques, where I grew up. And I also wanted to be liked, of course. Recently, my older sister, she shared with me a story, and she said a family friend told her that when I was younger, now this I don't have much recollection of, but the friend shared with her that she was my classmate in kindergarten and at the primary school. And she said she's not surprised that I became a global speaker and a global leader. And when she was asked why, she said she remembered that when our teachers would be late for class, I would stand up and ask all the other students to take a seat and start teaching the class. I didn't even remember that at all. So it really shows you that confidence really grows through action. And look at where I am today, a global speaker and a global leader.
Thank you so much for that. With everything changing globally, how can people really stay grounded and confident? And of course, hearing you stressed that it is not a trait that persons actually were born with. This is something you build over time.
We live in an ever changing world, and change is the only constant. So, I am speaking with you, by the end of the day, something would have changed about me. Whether I learned a new word, whether I learned something new, but I would not be the very same person tomorrow. And so, we live in a constantly changing world, and grounding comes from clarity. When the world feels uncertain, which it does now with everything happening around us, I will say to the audience listening, you have to return to what you can control, because the things that are happening around us, we have absolutely no control over. The American Psychological Association has shown that people who focus on things that they can control, uncontrollable actions, they experience lower stress and higher confidence. So, what does that say? You cannot control the world, but you can control your mindset, you can control your habits, you can control your actions, and you can control your decisions, because confidence grows when you take the next right step.
Again, let's not, in terms of confidence, we know there's overconfidence as well. For some persons, how do you differentiate between the two?
Well, confidence is really rooted in self awareness. When you become self aware, you will not be overconfident. However, here's the difference: confidence is rooted in assumption. So, overconfidence is rooted in assumption, whereas confidence is rooted in self awareness. Confidence says, Cabrina, you are capable. I am capable. And I am still learning, because we learn something every day. I always say to everyone I meet, I always describe myself as a lifelong learner. But overconfidence says, I already know everything and I don't need anything more. So, whilst confidence builds trust, overconfidence breaks that trust. Here's the difference.
Thank you. And even in our day to day scenarios as well, there are persons, maybe for me, as an example, I would say, yes, I believe I read and I speak well. But at the time, given an opportunity where you have to face the audience, this is where everything comes crashing at you, get a mental block, and oh, it's like you're in a wreck. You understand? Would you say that you lack the confidence at that time?
No, as anything else, we're human beings. And our very nature, it's okay to question yourself. It's okay to question your capabilities. It's okay, sometimes we will all have self-doubts and self-belief. But what is not okay is to stay in that constant state of mind. What you need to do is to take a step back, pause, and ask yourself, why am I feeling that way? Why am I thinking that way? And take a small step to get you back to grounding, to get you back to clarity, a place where you have clarity, a place where you can think straight and say, you know what? I may not feel 100% today, but I'm going to take a small step to get me towards achieving my goal that day, which of course will increase your self confidence because any small step you take will only get you better or get you closer to achieving your goals.
Well said. 2 minutes after 11, for those of you who are just joining, say good morning, good morning, good morning. With me, just in short, global speaker Pamela Robinson. If you have any questions, concerns, feel free to also join us online, and you can send those concerns, queries to us, and definitely our guests will facilitate with practical answers. As we continue, what role does mindset really play in maintaining confidence? And of course, I shared a similar scenario in terms of times of uncertainty.
Our mind controls our body. Therefore, our mind control our thoughts. Mindset is our engine. It's the engine that propels us either forward or backward. Skills matter, but mindset determines whether you use those skills. Because there are people who are very skillful. There are people who has the potential to do anything, but yet you notice that they do not. They don't take the steps. It's all because of their mindset. Recently, there was a research done by Stanford University and also one by Harvard, which shows clearly that people with a growth mindset, Cabrina, they are more resilient. They are more adaptable and, of course, more adaptable to change. And they are more confident in the face of uncertainty. So, what does that say? It means if you adopt a positive mindset, a mindset which says you can do it, it is easier when you fall, and we all fall at some point in our lives. We all make mistakes at some point in our lives. But when we have those falls, based on our mindset, we can either get up or stay where we are. Because again, our mindset shapes our interpretations of challenges. And guess what? And your willingness to take action. So everything that we do goes back to our mindset, how we see the world, how we see each other. There was a research, there was a study done in the 1970s, and that study was done by a psychologist named Robert. And what he did, Cabrina, he took two groups of students. One group, he placed a piece of tape from the ear all the way down to their mouths as a scar. So, in the mind of those students, they were scarred on their faces. And what he did, he asked them to go out into the world and speak to strangers. When this group of students returned to Robert the psychologist, he did an assessment. The assessment was he asked them, how did the strangers speak to them? How did the strangers approach them and received them? You know that what the answers were? The answers were, oh, they were all tense. They did not receive us well. They did not think great about us. There is something called expectation biasness. And this is what happened. Before the students went out into the world, in their minds, they had an expectation because in their minds, they're scarred. Their faces no longer look the same. So they went into the world with that expectation. And that's what they saw. So, what our expectations are, that's what we will see. That's the power of the mind. But here's where it gets even deeper. The psychologist sat and told those students, I will now apply moisturizer on the scar and see how it is. So, what he did, and these students could have seen their faces, he took the pieces of tape out, only to realize they had no scars. So the power of the mind is a terrible thing to waste. It's one of the most important tools that we can use to propel us forward.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for that. Very inspiring, which leaves me with, for persons who often feel discouraged, what would be that first step for them in rebuilding their confidence? And like you made mention, I mean, sometimes not just the mind, but we as an individual human being can be so fragile based on our circumstances sometimes. So it affects our mentals definitely. So with you, hey, right now, this very moment, how or what you think can be done, or how can they be guided, especially, those who are feeling discouraged or dampened?
I want to share with everyone that no matter how you feel, I want you to know that there are people in the world who are in worse situations than you are. I want you to take a step back. I always love using the forward framework where it's based on 3 pillars. Pause, take a step back, reflect, and think of where you are, knowing that there are people who wish at that very moment that they were in your shoes. The second pillar is to choose. Choose with courage, knowing that you are making the right decision. And the third pillar is to get up. Get up and lead. Now, getting up doesn't mean taking a big leap of faith. It could mean just taking a baby step. So start by taking small steps because confidence does not return in big leaps. It really returns in the steps that we take, and those steps can be small. As a global speaker, I've had situations where sometimes based on what someone may have said to me, and sometimes these things break us. It shatters our self-confidence. You may go out there and apply for a job and attend the interview thinking, oh, I've landed that job, only to be told, unfortunately, you did not receive it. And based on your mindset, based on how you think and what you believe about yourself, it can really break you. And human nature, it's okay. But how to start is to start by taking small steps. Do one thing today that will remind you that you are capable of anything. And I like to quote the Bible because these are not my words, Cabrina. Philippians 4 verse 13 says, we can have, be, or do anything through Christ who strengthens us. So if he says that, it's in his word. Why should we be afraid? We should know we are able, we are capable, we have the capability because God has given it to us. Take one action and one decision, one promise kept to yourself. And guess what? That is how we build confidence through one step, one action, and one promise that we make to ourselves.
Thank you again for that enlightening. And of course, we're hoping persons are taking everything in with a grain of salt. That is, I would love for you at this very moment, just share a simple exercise you believe our listeners can start maybe practicing today and even maybe adopting it as a routine as well.
Read a page from a book. And if you cannot read an entire page, and do it every single day, read a chapter, read a paragraph. And there are times the world around us gets chaotic. If you do not have time to read a paragraph, read one line. And I guarantee you, if you were to do that every day, it will do several things. It will increase your intellectual capability. It will increase your vocabulary. It will improve the way you see the world. Because what reading really does, it broadens our mind. It gives us a different perspective. And we learn by doing. So by reading every day, you're becoming a better version of yourself. And when you become a better version of yourself, it does something dramatic. It increases your self confidence because suddenly you start feeling you're more knowledgeable. Suddenly you start thinking better of yourself. Suddenly you realize one day at a time that your world is changing in a great way.
That right here serves as a motivation as well. And no two days are the same because, again, as you mentioned, we go through a lot of challenges. And I just want to ask you from the last appearance you had here, has there been any personal or maybe even professional challenges you may have had to face or maybe even test? Because too often persons like to push us to the brink.
Sabrina, even as a global speaker, and I see myself as a global leader, I face several moments that sometimes test my confidence. But the one thing I constantly do is that I allow my challenges, whatever they may be, to remind me that confidence is not about never failing. We will fail. We're in this world. It can be a beautiful world surrounded by chaos. And so we will fail. And if you do not fail, it means you're not making progress. However, failure brings wisdom. And it is about rising with more wisdom than about failing.
I like that for sure. But and extracting from your comments, a lot of the times I think when we or when failure actually hits us, this is where we have a change of mindset for sure. It's like me, I give up already. Look, I tried something and it didn't work. I'm not going to do that again. I forget about that. That's not for me. You know, we now actually putting ourselves in that place of resentment, in that place of dampening ourselves and even discouraging ourselves. Because again, knowing we are the vessel of, well, we are God's children, and the vessel, what you put in, what you get out as well, what you're speaking actually will be what you outpour too. So speak good, and then good will be presented. Speak bad, and yes, you get that as well. So I think most of the times when we, like you said, get knocked down or shaken, it is not to discourage us but to empower us, Yes, it's nicely said in the word, but in the doing, the action and stuff, it is very difficult.
It is true. I always say things are easier said than done. But as I also mentioned, we have to believe. We have to believe in Christ who strengthens us. And I like to go back to the word. It says we can have, be, or do anything through Christ who strengthens us. And so if we believe in his word, we will remember his word. We will not stay on the ground for too long. And one other exercise I want to share. It's very simple in case you may not have a book to read, and this is going to help ground you. Stand tall, especially if you have a mirror. Stand tall, bring your shoulders down slightly, and push your chest forward. Suddenly, it makes you feel elevated. Take a deep breath and say, you know what? No matter what it is, I can handle this because God reminds me every day that I can handle it. And you know what? What happens is, Cabrina, our body shifts first, then our mind follows because confidence is physical before it becomes mental. And it's the same when we approach anyone. People form an opinion of us within the very first 7 seconds of seeing us before we even open our mouths. On the job, at work, people who exude a higher self or a higher sense of self-confidence, they are the ones who get promoted. They are the ones who become CEOs, not the timid ones, not the shy ones. So research has proven that based on the way we walk shows how confident we are. So no matter where you are, I want you to remember the breakthrough is knowing that you have the capability of getting up from where you are.
Thank you so much, Miss Robinson. And we actually forgot to inform our listeners March is observed, as Women's Month. And of course, this is why we're having such a powerful conversation as women. And then we believe, especially in the workplaces, women do not support each other. And I think where women should be more united, fix each other's crowns, but you get a reverse of that. Is it really
Again,
nature?
Let me just highlight International Women's Month. We're still in March, and I think enough emphasis is not placed on the importance of women because without a woman, we wouldn't be here. But first, we give thanks to God. Great point, Cabrina. But it all goes back to how we feel about ourselves. And as I mentioned at our last interview, the way we treat others is really not about the other person. It's about what's happening inside of us. It's about how we perceive ourselves. It's about how we see ourselves. And what happens, and psychology will teach us that we project onto others what's happening inside of us. So someone might watch me and say, wow, she looks beautiful. My beauty does not stem from my outward appearance. My outward appearance is a byproduct of what's happening inside of me. So you are correct about saying there's so much happening where women are concerned, where we as women come together. But we can change the narrative. And I think it's high time as women, we change those narratives. We become a collective. We learn to support each other. As I share with everyone, we can only become better version of ourselves when we learn to uplift and support each other. That's the only way out, because who you are today, someone helped you along the way. It could have been at your interview, your manager or your leader saw your potential and decided, I'm going to give this young lady a chance. And same for me. I believe in a society raising a child and raising a woman. So I do not believe that where I am today is my own doing. Yes, I had to put in the work, but it comes from years of being molded by other women who came before me. First and foremost, by my mom, Dudu, Margaret Joseph, the woman who gave birth to me, a true inspiration. And so many other people in the society, both in St. Lucia and abroad. And we ought to give credit to other women, my nieces, my children, my family, my friends. I can't begin to tell you when I would be around my nieces and my children, how youthful I felt, because they were a powerful force to be reckoned with. And so we ought to give women grace and give them the grace that and the credit that belongs to them, because we do not rise by ourselves. We rise by supporting and lifting up each other and by giving credit to those who came before us.
Very insightful and worth noting. Um, what message do you have specifically for Soufriere, the community? I know the first Jacques Massive, I mean, all, and the listeners across St. Lucia, especially, I know all ears are glued right now. And even if they may not want to pour in their comments, but they are listening attentively. So, what would you like to share with them, the listening audience, the Soufriere, St. Lucia community for St. Jacques?
I love my island home. I love where I come from. I love my Soufriere people. I love my Jacques people. The one message I want to share with all of them, I know that they are a community of strength. We've been through so much as a community, as an island. Jacques Soufriere at the time of hurricanes and storms, even during the hurricane season, I'm always concerned about our people. But we are a community of strength, a community of resilience. We see how quickly we get together and we build a community when things happen, especially from natural disasters. And not only are we a community of strength and resilience, we are a community of brilliance, great minds. Confidence is not something you wait for, community. It is something you build together. And we have seen this over and over again. Because when one person rises, the whole community rises. So let's continue to rise and have the community rise with us.
Definitely. And I'm sure they are listening to you this very moment and will, if not, make a difference. And this opportunity here, I think is very meaningful. For some of us, it may hit home as well, have us reflecting on a personal level, if not, even where families are concerned as well, especially in a household where you have other siblings and you too often you would be told, oh, Jane, I love Jane. Jane is my favorite child. Whereas Tom, Tom, you're very troublesome. You're always, getting me angry and stuff like that. So that on the whole will definitely demotivate this child and cause a lot of rivalry between those siblings. If you can maybe just share with us as well, knowing you also come from a large household. How was it for you
I
growing up as
came
well?
from a family of five. My mom had four girls and one boy. And my brother is the middle child. And I always say to everyone, he was spoiled rotten. My mom would have one mango, and she would say, She would share the mango with the four of us, the four daughters, but she would say to leave a piece for my brother Darren. But the one thing I have to say that I did not experience growing up was favoritism. I don't recall my mom showing any one of us preferential treatment. And this is something as a mother, I have to say it can happen. So, for example, normally, and I don't know if we should call it favoritism, but again, that's what the other children will see for the mothers listening or for the siblings listening. What happens is, say, for example, my mom had five of us. My younger sister, the one who is the last, normally mothers are more protective of the last child. Why? Because, of course, they're younger, the age, and so they're afraid that, okay, something might happen to this child. But it may not necessarily be that they're showing favoritism. But you, as the older child, because the mother is showing more care or concern about this younger child, because in the parent's mind, the older child knows best, which is not necessarily so. But in their mind, you're older, you know better, you have more experience. So I have to show this younger one what you know now by protecting him or her, which sometimes comes off to that other child as preferential treatment. However, we also know that it happens where a mother may have show more favoritism to another child. And I have to say to our audience listening, this can be heartbreaking. It can also damage and cost years of damage to children. So be more open minded. And I mentioned earlier, one habit you can incorporate in your daily life is to read. If you have children and you want to become a better mother, a better parent, read. I know that this is a handbook that none of us as parents are given. But I want to remind you, you can always become a better mother, a better spouse, a better friend, a better sister, a better employee. Just read. Google. Now we have technology. Technology is everywhere. Google. Ask Siri a question. How can I become a better mother? How can I not show preferential treatment? But yes, in a large household and a child receiving preferential treatment compared to another one, the one not receiving it, what you're doing is to break their self-confidence, to break their self-belief, and that can have years of consequence on a child's life.
Yeah, thank you so much. Permit me to ask you, as a global speaker, corporate trainer, what is a typical day to day like for you? I mean, in terms of your schedule and conversations we've had, know that you're usually so packed with your day to day.
I start my day with grounding. First and foremost, that's a great question because successful leaders, they all have what I call a ritual, or some people describe it as a routine. Cabrina, I do nothing without God. I put God first in everything that I do because I believe in a higher power. I believe that's why I am here. I have a purpose and a calling. And before this year, 2026 started, I spoke to God and I said, you know what I love doing. You know the desires of my heart. But I want every decision I make to be of you. I want every step I take that you are with me. So my day, to answer your question, starts with clarity and with grounding with God first. As soon as I am conscious that I am awake, I start giving God thanks. So gratitude is really important to me. And as I do this work, I have realized that the more thankful you are for what you have and for where you are, the more God will bless you with. So I start my day with giving praise and thanks to God for the breath of life that a lot of us take for granted, for even the bed that I laid on last night, for my mom, my friends, and I have so many of them who are guiding me up to this day. My friend, a lot of my friends are so much older than me, but I have some very close friends, and one of them is, I call her mom, she calls me daughter, Miss Janet. I mean, we speak a lot of the times, we speak almost every day, whether it's a voice note or a message. And I give God thanks for everyone in my life. And then what I will do, I will pray. I will ask him for forgiveness. I will ask him to give me a heart like his, because Cabrina, we sometimes hurt people not even realizing that we do so. And I want to start my day with a clean slate. So I ask for repentance, and then I pray, ask God to protect me, protect my steps, protect me from my enemies. Because sometimes, again, the same way we cause pain without realizing, we sometimes have enemies, because we will not be everybody cup of tea. Sometimes you're champagne, and you have to identify yourself as that. And so the next thing I will do, I will get up and I will stretch, because stretching is so important. It helps blood circulate. And then I will sit down and I will write in my gratitude journal. So I have a gratitude journal and I have several of them. And in that gratitude journal, again, I will thank God for life. I will thank God for everything that's going on in my life. I can't begin to tell you how important gratitude is to me. Next, I will drink warm water, plain warm water, whether it's plain warm water or with lemon, and I will exercise. Before that, I will read a chapter or a paragraph or a line from the Bible. I am now on the book of Corinthians, Second Corinthians, and I will read it to understand something. So by the end of the day, I've learned something new. And then I have a rigorous, very long routine. And then now I will meditate. I take at least 5 minutes to just quiet my mind and just listen, because it's only in the silence that we can hear God's voice. It's only in the silence that we can hear what's going on around us. As women, we wear many hats: housewife, mother, co-worker, friend. Sometimes we're advisors, therapists, employees, and we just have so many things happening on any given day. And we do not take time to just quiet our mind to hear what God is saying to us. And then I will exercise and get ready for my day. My day sometimes is packed with attending events, attending meetings, hopping on calls. And sometimes, most times, I take at least one day, which is normally on a Thursday, to follow up on emails, follow up on calls. But I always do one thing. Apart from giving God thanks, I check every single day on the people I love, because sometimes we take those people for granted. Whether it is a message, a voice note, I speak with my mom every single day. She's my heart. I speak with my kids, my nieces. If I don't speak to them, I send them a message, because they are all part of me. So this is my day on any given day.
Thank you so much. And I guess this is what keeps you glowing and going.
It does. It does.
It's been interesting, 25 minutes to the hour. And imagine the slogan, time goes by quickly, especially when you're having an enlightening conversation, when you're really feeling inspired. I continue to implore you and the good work, and not all of us, unfortunately, have that support. And I think a support system is very important as well. You need to know you have family or a few persons, a circle beyond the reasonable doubt that you can really call upon for inspiration, for advice, for guidance, whatnot. And then I find it's I can sadly say it's lacking.
Cabrina, my advice would be, well, research has proven that we become the average of the 5 people that we spend our time with. So if you're hanging with thieves, you will become a thief. If you're hanging with learners, you will become a learner. And I remember as a young girl growing up, my mom would say, "Show me your friends, and I will tell you who you are." Or birds of a feather flock together. At the time, I didn't know what this meant. But as an adult now, I can understand what she meant, the value of what she was saying. A support system is extremely important, whether your friends, your family, your co workers. But my advice, Cabrina, would be to the audience listening today, if you do not have a support system, build one. If you do not have a support system, find one. We were not meant to do life alone. Back to many moons ago, many years ago, most people lived in tribes. And in tribes, people prospered. So, my advice is find a support group. And it could be on social media, it could be someone you look up to. Reach out to this person, send a text message. Now, do it consciously and do it mindfully. A lot of us sometimes only reach out to people when we need them. And this is not the way to go. Reach out to the people you aspire to be like. Reach out to people you know who can build you up. Follow them, send them a kind message, build a relationship way before you actually need them, and grow your own support system. Don't sit back and wait for support, build your support.
Thank you. And I must share, I guess that's why we're networking, yes?
That's why we network. And I always say, sometimes I go to networking events and it's all about giving the business cards and your title. Who are you? What do you do? No questions like, how is your family? What excites you? At the end of the day, what we do, our titles does not define who we are. And I love saying that because we believe when we attend networking events is to say I'm a bank manager or to say I am this. No, that does not define who you are. Who you are is how you treat the other person. Let's focus on relationship building as opposed to transactions, as opposed to thinking of where my next dollar is coming from. So I am a business owner. I am attending a networking event. I'm going to give my card and say, I am this and I am that, and think the doors will open for me. No, the doors only open when you build relationships. After the networking event, send a message. It was great seeing you. It was great meeting you. How are you doing? And just leave it there and continue building that rapport until you get to a place where you can say, let's do lunch, let's do coffee, let's do breakfast, let's get to know each other a bit better. That's how you network.
Definitely. And even if we were to share our little secret with the listening audience, and I'm really thankful that the two of us were able to have that discourse from one and now building momentum to another. And it's just going to continue. And like you made mention, after interviews, and just forget about that person and be, okay, that was just another interview. Let me just move to my next person. But you try and build, especially if that person was giving off, that energy. And again, if it is who you were aspiring or inspiring to be, and it got landed right there in your lap. We have Nati Nicholas. Well said, sister. God bless. Thank you so much, Nati, for that as well. And of course, we have to pay homage to Mufasa, and I'm sure maybe he's a bit engaged. That's why he actually did not come on to join this discussion. But God bless you also, Marcus Joseph Mufasa.
Yes, he did reach out. He's reached out a couple of times to me. He said, Pamela, you're a global speaker. I aspire to be like you. He shared some of his experiences with me because he's also visited Africa, but not South Africa. And want to say thank you to the audience. So many people reached out. If you have questions, please, now is the time to ask your questions. I want you to know that you are not alone. You are seen, you are heard. I know life can be very, very difficult at times. I know that life is not a bed of roses, because even roses has thorns. But I want you to know you are being seen, you are being heard. I want you to know life is not what you go through, but is how you deal with the things that you go through. I want you to know that on any given day, sometimes the person with the biggest smile is going through very difficult times. We never know what someone else is going through. But what I want to say to you today is never give up. I want you to know that you are valued. I want you to know that you are beautiful. And you know what makes you stand out? You are unique. Your strengths are not my strengths. And that's what makes us different. That's what makes you unique. So use your uniqueness in a great way to shine your light in the world, a world of uncertainty.
Definitely. And at that time, I can say thank you, Palm. I'm confident enough to say thank you, Palm. And for persons, be inspired by this. Do not let anyone tell you no. Um, Permit me to ask, a lot of people are of the view that they need to be heard to be confident, or they need to be loud to be seen.
You don't need to be loud to be seen. You don't, confidence is not loud. Confidence is in the steps that you take every day to become a better version of yourself. Most confident people are not loud. They take steps to get to where they want to be. And I want you to know, if you are not taking those steps yet, no need to be shouting and thinking that it's going to build your confidence. What you need to know is that you are not behind. You are not broken. Give yourself permission to rise again. And by rising again, you will start taking the small steps to build your confidence, not by being loud.
Definitely. And persons who believe it's late, which of course is never too late. No matter what time, you're going to be right on time. Never too late for anything. Today can be your start, tomorrow can be your start. We have Margaret Stevens. So true. God bless you always, Pamela.
Thank you. Thank you for the feedback. It's really amazing when people leave feedback, and I always say it could be just one person. You know that your work is not in vain. Again, because confidence is built. It's not born, and you can rebuild it anytime.
Since we have Nati who left her comment, and we also have Margaret as well, we're hoping more persons can share the comments in terms of one habit that instantly boosts confidence. We'll leave that to them before you can provide an answer. That is one habit that can instantly boost confidence. In the conversation, you actually made a mention of picking up a book as well. For persons who do not enjoy reading, they could have maybe some motivational cards as well, some inspirational quotes as well that can really help. And we know we have to be grounded spiritually, if anything. We can never, never do it on our own. It's impossible to just do it on your own.
Very true. Any comments in terms of one habit? Did anyone leave any comments yet?
Not as yet.
Okay. So, if I may add one habit which can really help, and I will share two in this regard, but the first one is deep breathing. We underestimate the power of inhaling and exhaling, the power of deep breathing. As I mentioned earlier, we all go through things sometimes that no one knows anything about. One of the ways to deal with stress, to deal with fatigue, to deal with uncertainty is to take deep breaths. Take a pause, move back, Move yourself away from the situation. Whether it is chaos at home, you're having a child who's off course, maybe your spouse, your partner is giving you a hard time, maybe there's stress on the job. Go into the toilet, go to the bathroom, go to your room. Instead of being loud and shouting and yelling, it's not going to help. It will only increase stress. Take 3 deep breaths. Breathe in through your nose, hold it up at the top of your head for a few seconds, and breathe out through your mouth. Do that 3 times. By the third breath, you will start feeling grounded. You will start feeling a lot better. And you will start realizing that there's no need to worry. There's no need to have a troubled mind and a troubled heart, because everything will be okay. The one habit that instantly boosts confidence that I want to share with the audience is, and it's something that maybe a lot of people don't think about, it's to fix your posture. And I will repeat this: fix your posture. When you enter a room, your presence is what speaks for itself. When you enter a room, the way you walk in is what speaks for you. Research has shown that successful people walk differently from people who are not successful. The people who take their time to walk and walk slowly and drag, they are not the most successful people. The most successful people, they have strides when they walk. And so fix your posture, because you know what happens when you fix your posture? You stand tall. You show people, I am confident. I know what I am doing. I have the ability to do the task at hand, because your body tells your brain how you feel.
Nice. We have some comments. Sophia Cluzelma, good morning. Have been listening. Always a pleasure, Miss Palm. Very enlightening. The morning routine stood out for me. I do meditation, breathing every morning, and it's very enlightening. It helps me a lot. A walk of confidence.
Thank you. That's amazing. Before we close, I want to share one thing that we take for granted, and it's a confidence booster as well. It's called the spark tip. SPARK. Finding the spark in the little things that we do every day. And again, as I've mentioned, it's Women's Month. As women, as mothers, we wear so many hats, especially a lot of us are single parents, and we don't have that extra help and support. And so it is easier for us to just jump into the car, run off to work, cook, come back home, cook the meal, and we don't take time to see the beauty around us. It could be just a flower on your table. It could be just keeping out the noise for a second. It could be your child walking in from home with a smile. It could be walking out. Like this morning, I went out on my walk. And you know what I saw when I came back? I saw the daffodils in the yard. That's the first set blooming, opening up. And this was my spark moment. So take time in your day. It could be 1 second of the day to see the beauty around you.
Thank you. And even a better way to say it, beauty in the ashes.
Correct. Very well said. And the most important confidence outfit one can ever wear is your smile. Your smile will not only brighten your day, but it will brighten someone else's day. I like to say it like this: be the sunshine on a cloudy day.
Nice. If someone only remembers one thing from today's conversation, what should it be?
Confidence is not a personality trait. Confidence is built over time, and you are never too late. You can start from where you are. Confidence is built, it's not born. And remember, you can rebuild it at any time. But put God first in everything that you do.
Final message to those struggling to believe in themselves right now as a motivator.
You are not behind. You're never too late. You are enough. You are not too much, because so many times we hear, oh, who she thinks she is. She's just too much. I want you to know you are not too much. You are not broken. You are becoming. Think of a caterpillar. Think of a butterfly. Think of the process and give yourself permission to rise.
Thank you. But I think adding to that, we can agree there are different personality traits, and yes, some people are overbearing.
Yes, we there are different personality traits. We are all not the same. We are all different. And that's what makes us unique. And Cabrina, as we've agreed and I shared earlier, research has proven we become the average of the five people we spend our time with. And so, if you realize someone is overbearing, you find ways to stay away from that person, because this person, it means you're not gaining anything from this person.
Definitely. And even something I want to share as women as well. Sometimes knowledge is power, and you may not know everything. And there are those moments where you need that little assistance. You need maybe a bit of an encouragement, a bit of inspiration. And sometimes you may want to ask a few persons, you encounter on a day to day, and it would be very discouraging with the, I would say, in terms of the manner, the attitude, the display, like just the whole transfer of stuff. It would have you revisiting whether that was the best fit, to even approach somebody to ask anything as well. And it goes back to show what support system is there, whether it's family, whether it's work, no matter the scenario, you need to know that there are persons you can actually bank on. And as women as well, sometimes we so quick, to attack and the backlash, and not trusting to have some things in confidence or build confidentiality as well.
And that's why I made mention earlier the way we behave, not just as women, but as a human species. What we do is projecting outwards onto others how we feel inside. And so, if you trusted someone with something confidential and this person repeated it, this person is showing you who they are. And I always say, when people show you who they are, believe them. The person is not lying, the person is showing you who they are. A support system is ideal. A support system is important, but it's best to be alone than to have a broken and untrusted support group. It is best to be alone if your support system is bringing you down. And if your support group is breaking you or bringing you down, they're not your support group. Find your support group. And there will always be people who will be for you and people who will be against you. You cannot have everyone liking you. We live in a world where we believe we need validation. If you believe in God and you believe in yourself, you don't need validation from anyone. You walk out of your house knowing that God is always with you, that you can have, be, or do anything through Christ who strengthens you. Again, it starts from the mindset, it starts from the mind and what we say to ourselves. Research has also proven that On any given day, we may have between 60 to 70, sometimes people have up to 80,000 thoughts going through their minds on any day. And 65%, which is a chunk of those thoughts, are negative. And so we have to deliberately choose activities and thoughts that are going to fuel our minds to think positively. So if you realize you have a support group, they're not encouraging, and we all need, there are days we just want someone to say, listen, I know it's hard, but you can cross the finishing line, and get that group of encouragers who will support you. It's important.
Thank you so much for this motivation right there. We want to say thank you to Nati, Margaret, Sophia. We appreciate the comments as well, and a special thank you to you, Miss Robinson. It's been immense pleasure, and definitely one conversation leading to the next. So we're now looking to have our three-part, definitely when you're ready as well. And I think it's a great initiative to not only ask the questions but build that friendship. Okay, you can always count on that person as well. And we encourage the listeners. The last time we did that as well, for those of you, whatever interests you, a topic you may want to have some light shed on, some clarity, some perspective, feel free to leave those discussions so we can actually put it together and present it with, of course, the expertise of our global speaker. Yes.
Thank you, Cabrina. I can't thank you enough. I want to thank you. I know I have received some messages from the audience, some of them saying they don't see the option or where to leave the comments, but hopefully next time. And I like that initiative. I love giving. I believe you can only receive through giving. And anything I can do to help our community, help our island home, especially our young people, they need it. They need the guidance. They need someone to listen to them. They need someone to guide them. They need that support system. And if it takes you and I to be that support system, I want to be there. I want to be there for our young people. They are the future leaders of tomorrow. And I appreciate that initiative where you're opening the platform to our audience, because I don't want it to be about me. Like I said earlier, it's not what I do, is how I want to give back. And thank you for opening it up to the audience that they can share their topic of interest. I speak on change, I speak on leadership, I speak on confidence, I speak on communication, I speak on a myriad of topics. And I would love to give back to my community, Fosse Jacques Soufriere, the people who are listening to me, my supporters. And we've spoken so much about supporters, Cabrina. I couldn't do this alone if you did not support me. I couldn't do this alone if the Soufriere Foundation did not support you. So that's a great initiative. I couldn't do this alone if my mom didn't ground and molded me into the woman I am today. I couldn't do this without a support system. I have people who messages me every single day. I have my big brother Conrad Theodore, and this guy, we are not blood brother and sister, but he's my brother. Trust me. Conrad will message me to say, great job. I love what you do. If I post something, I have people like Margaret Stephen and so many others who may not even be listening. They will repost. Tabitha from England. Oh my God, another one. It's a whole, I am made up of a society. I did not become who I am just because of me. I have so many people from Mary C. There are just too many people to mention. My sister Cynthia, if she's listening to this, she will come back and say, great job. My nieces, my kids, my mom, when my mom know I'm going on, she can't wait to hear. And so I bet she's listening, and all of my friends who are listening, the community of Forcejac, I would not be who I am today without a support system. It is so important.
Yes, it is well said. Just before you leave, I want to actually find out what is the update. The last conversation we had, you made mention of wanting to actually visit your island home and have that women empowerment seminar. How has that been working out?
It is something I am working on. I am strategically working on it at the moment. However, next in 2 Saturdays on April 11th at 9 a.m. our time, your time, I will be hosting a webinar, and that webinar will be amazing. That webinar, I have a great group of women. It's a webinar to close Women's Month. And I urge every listener who can attend to please be present. I will be sharing it on my social media pages. I will be sharing the link. It will leave you transformed. I have speakers. I will be the keynote speaker, but I have speakers from St. Lucia. I have speakers from other parts of the Caribbean, Turks and Caicos. I have speakers from Jersey, which is the Channel Islands located between France and England. I have speakers from South Africa. So we will be getting together to transform our audience, and you should not miss it.
Thank you. Margaret left a comment. Yes, Pamela, I am from France Jacques. I am very proud of you and you are doing a wonderful job. Keep it up. Don't ever give up.
Thank you, Margaret. I live for those messages because even sometimes, as a global speaker and a global leader, you sometimes ask yourself, am I reaching my audience? Am I doing the right thing? I believe it's a call from God, and I am reminded by that so many times by my I call her mom, my friend Janet, who lives in Castries, Miss Janet Daisy. And you made mention, you said something very important earlier, and you made mention about the power of the tongue. Parents, audience, I want you to start speaking life into your children. Speak life into your friends. Speak life into your co-workers, because it's written in the Bible that the power of life or death is in the tongue. I remember growing up, my mom would always say that I would become something great. At the time, ask me what she was saying. I don't know. I don't even know if she recalls she told me that. And my dear friend, Miss Janet Daisy, I hope she's listening to this and other people as well. I remember walking to my home one day, and she stood at her home on some steps, and she said, let me tell you something. Do you know that St. Lucia might be too small for you? Because I see you doing great things. I have two other friends. They were my sister's very close friends, very best friends, Emma and Gemma from New York. These children are twins. They are much younger than me. When I would visit my sister Shoma, you know what they would say to me? That's my Oprah Winfrey. I see you, Pam, as Oprah Winfrey, going around the world and speak. Cabrina, today I am living that life. I am living the life that my mom spoke over me. I am living the life that Miss Janet Daisy spoke over me. I am living the life that Emma and Gemma spoke over me. I remember once my niece Janelle, I said, before the year ended, I would have a brand new car parked in the yard. And she came and she said, Auntie Pam, you said something and it happened. How were you able to do it? And I said, because God gave us the power to speak life over ourselves, to speak life upon ourselves and onto others. So if there's one thing I want our audience to take today, you can either break someone or make them based on what you say. Let us normalize speaking life into each other.
Thank you. And finally, before you leave, just some fun facts you could just, in your own opinion and how you believe, the most successful speakers spend
Hmm. I would say they spend time giving back, they spend time practicing, they spend time loving each other and loving themselves and uplifting others.
a single conversation can,
Let's repeat that one.
a single conversation can,
Uplift and make somebody else's day.
the last one, confidence isn't something you're
Born with, it is something built.
nice. What a powerful way to end. This has been our house guest edition for, but Sophia said Miss Janet was right. Don't give up. Wow. Those comments will keep us here all day for sure.
And I promise you, my audience, I will never give up. Join me on April 11th at 9 a.m. your time for transformation. And wait, I will come to Soufriere. Let's start planning. I will come to Soufriere St. Lucia to bring transformation to you. I look forward to seeing those faces and these eyes in the audience. And I thank you. I want you to know I don't take you for granted. I don't take your comments for granted. I appreciate you and I love you. Thank you.
Thank you as well. 6 minutes after the hour of 12 p.m. in Surface and Lucian Eastern Caribbean, this has been a refreshing, insightful conversation on house guests. Mind you, the second edition that was, and you know what? Save the best for last. Until next time, it's been a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Thursday to have you in the house with us. And of course, Zelma ended by saying thank you. And on behalf of everyone who's sending the comments as well, we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. It's been immense pleasure. This is where we say au revoir, goodbye, ta-ta to you as always. Until next time, inside of our house guest edition, global speaker, corporate trainer, Miss Pamela Robinson. Thank you, stay blessed, and of course, have an awesome one in the Lord.
Thank you, Cabrina. Thank you again for taking the time out to interview me today. Thank you, audience. You could have been anywhere else, but you decided to stay with me, to join me today. Thank you to everyone listening. And I love you all and can't wait to join you again.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you.